Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are in our back garden planting up a couple of containers that are made out of tree branches. I'm not sure what kind of tree branches they are. We were at a garden center here in town picking up some other plants, and as we were checking out, they let us know, hey, on your way out back to your car, they had multiple different kinds of planters like this, and they were giving them away. You could take a few, as you know, if you made a purchase there. And we happened to pick up a wheelbarrow and this. Now, this is not something I would typically purchase. However, when we were walking back to our car with our plants, my husband and I thought, well, maybe this would be a unique way to help keep our German Shepherd out of our flower beds. And for those of you who have a large breed dog, I don't know so much if the small dogs do it, but our German Shepherd Chief, because they're more full now than when we first planted, he's not in them as much. But if he sees squirrels, and we have so many squirrels, we have 3 redwoods back here, and we have so many squirrels. Occasionally he'll chase a bird, but normally you just don't see one squirrel. There are like 2 or 3 of them, and they're out here, and they're running around in the trees, and he will make a mad dash, and he doesn't care what's in his way. He'll either plow through it, try and jump over it, and many times ruin my plants. And so instead of, because you will see when we do a tour here pretty soon, I have small little decorative gates strategically placed throughout our flower bed in the hopes to kind of steer him away so he won't walk through them, through the flower bed. Anyway, that's what we're doing today. And the top one probably needs a 12-inch, and I think I had one, but I used it for some begonias out front. And these are very small. I believe these are 10. They didn't have a tag on it, and I got these at home. And that's the only place I've seen them this small. Occasionally I've seen them at Joann's, but not that often. Now, for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and plant all 3 of these up and the wheelbarrow, because I want to replace this one with one that fits, but at least you'll get the idea of what it looks like, because I want one that's a little bit taller so it can have more soil. And I know what you guys are thinking as you're looking down here. It's not a very big reservoir, and you're going to have to water it a lot, and I do know that. And the only reason why I can get away with it is because I just have a residential home, and I almost have everything on drip. So there are only a few pots in my patio that I have to hand water, and then I'll have to come out and hand water this as well. I might hook up drip to the wheelbarrow that is over where I'll take you in just a minute. These bottom 2 reservoirs are so small that even this 10-inch wouldn't fit all the way down. So what I did is just, on the bottom one is a little bit bigger than the middle one. I just cut it in half and folded it over and stuck it in. This one, I had to cut the top off about 1.5 inches. So that's how I was able to make that fit. Impatiens are perennial only in zones 10 and 11. I'm in zone 9B. And I want to tell you about a little experiment that I did over the winter with some impatiens that I had last summer. These can get up to about 10 to 12 inches tall. And so what'll happen is, once they begin to push growth, they'll spill over and they'll come out on the outside of each of these baskets. But let me show you an experiment that I did over the winter time. This basket, I don't know if you can come in a little closer so they can see, doesn't look the prettiest. However, these, you can see all new growth in here. I took the basket off of our patio, and I think that you might have seen it during our fall tour. The impatiens maybe grew out to about this wide on each side. So it was just a huge basket of impatiens, just a big, beautiful mound. I pulled it out of there and I put it back here where it was getting full sun all day, all through the winter. And I kind of forgot about it, and we've had a lot of rain, so I haven't really given it supplemental water. And I looked at it the other day and I was shocked that they overwintered and there are tons of new growth. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these long ones that you'll see and I'm gonna cut it back to where I see growth way down at the bottom. And we're gonna see what happens with these over the course of summertime here. And so that's something that you could actually try if you wanted to. But typically, unless you live somewhere where the winters are super mild, these aren't going to make it through winter. But I just wanted to show this to you. Next, we're going to plant up the wheelbarrow, and I thought I would plant them in front of our Merit Supreme that are coming along beautifully. They've all broken dormancy, and actually a few of them are already forming buds. Well, when I mulch and do a video on that, I will explain what's kind of going on with the ones over here off to the side. They're alive, they're okay, but they could be better, and I'll explain that we had a broken water valve and got too much water. However, where the wheelbarrow will go is over here, right to the entrance of our raised vegetable garden. And we have some hydrangeas that don't have any names on them. They're clearance hydrangeas, and you'll see the little gates off to the side. And I thought, well, maybe I could stick a wheelbarrow in between and, you know, and kind of get away from a couple of the gates, because the gates are really expensive. And, well, these I picked up for free. Oh, and before I plant the impatiens up, I just also wanted to say that this is the first year I've ever planted begonias in the ground. I've always done containers, but this is the first time I did them in the ground. And I thought that they would die off in the winter, but they've all done very well. And what I landed up doing is I pinched back the ones that, you know, kind of had long stems on them, and they're getting a little bit bulkier. And I'm so thrilled that they stayed and wintered over. It's just another plant that I don't have to replace. And this is what I've been doing also with these up here. The ones that have gotten really long, I'll just take them back, you know, and pinch them off so they look a little bit more full and not quite so leggy. All right, let's get this wheelbarrow planted. I really like it. And yes, I absolutely packed it out. I want this to be just this huge, round sphere of purple impatiens that will be growing over here next to the hydrangeas. Let's go put it over there. This is the area where I used to have a bunch of David Austin buckets over here to the side, because right behind the oleander, there's, I'd say what, about 3.5 feet, do you think? 3.5 feet, could be even more than that, where Chief will run around the perimeter of our property, and what would happen is he'd come right in through here and stomp on my hydrangeas, and we've lost a few, but that's okay because these are all my clearance hydrangeas that didn't have any names on them, and that's why they look pretty petite and small. We'll see how they do this spring and summer. This is a podocarpus tree right here that you see, and it is a very dense evergreen tree that does shed some leaves that die off, but it's not deciduous. It stays full all year round, and we have had to prune it up a little bit so this area can get a little bit of sun, just a touch. It doesn't need very much. I have a few carex here in the front, some calla lilies that I transplanted a few years ago. But I think by breaking up the gate and putting this here, it adds just a touch more color, and it was free. I know there are many of you out there that have large breed dogs that understand what it's like when they kind of plow through your flower bed and damage some of your plants, and I can't be too upset with him because this is his domain back here, but I still would like to have a pretty garden. I'm happy that I stumbled upon these and they were free, and now we can add a little bit more color and keep Chief out of our flower bed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye.